This is a protest in Nepal. Why the protest? Bad governance. That is why they are protesting. Let's watch.
Welcome back to the program. Nepal is facing its worst political unrest in decades. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned after mass protests turned deadly, leaving more than 20 people killed in clashes with security forces. The demonstrations, sparked by a social media ban, have now spiraled into a nationwide anti-corruption movement.
Chaos in Kathmandu. Protesters stormed and set fire to parliament, sending thick plumes of smoke into the sky. Across the capital, government buildings and political leaders' homes were also torched. What began as anger over a government ban on Facebook and YouTube has exploded into Nepal's largest anti-corruption uprising in decades. At least 19 people were killed on Monday after police opened fire on demonstrators who breached parliament grounds. More deaths followed on Tuesday. Hospitals reported more than 100 injuries, including dozens of police officers. Amid the chaos, hundreds of inmates escaped from prisons in western districts.
They have snatched our freedom and basic rights. We were compelled to protest. Now more than 50 youth have been killed.
The government had justified its ban as a way to fight fake news. But for young Nepalis, social media is a vital lifeline.
Social media is important for our generation, for business, for connection with people abroad. Tax money is misused while young people struggle. We need new leaders.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned, saying he hoped to pave the way for a constitutional solution. With protesters celebrating on the streets, but no clear leadership in sight, the country faces uncertain days ahead. Neighboring India expressed concern tightening security along its border with Nepal. And the UN urged both protesters and security forces to step back from violence.
I'm appalled by the escalating violence in Nepal that has resulted in multiple deaths and the injury of hundreds of mostly young protesters, as well as the widespread destruction of property. I plead with security forces to exercise utmost restraint and to avoid further such bloodshed and harm. Violence is not the answer. Dialogue is the best and only way to address the concerns of the Nepalese people. It is important that the voices of young people are heard. Protesters have the right to express peacefully their political frustrations and grievances over corruption and a ban on social media platforms. I have received concerning reports of unnecessary and disproportionate use of force by the security forces. I call for an urgent, thorough, transparent and impartial investigation into such acts. I'm also disturbed by reports of public buildings, businesses and private residents being attacked, and in some instances set ablaze. Equally, I'm concerned by reports of physical attacks on senior government officials. I remind protesters that they too must uphold the spirit of peaceful assembly and refrain from violence.
The ongoing unrest is the worst in years in the Himalayan nation, which is wedged between India and China. It is also far more violent than in 2006, when an uprising forced Nepal's last king to give up his executive powers. At least 18 people were killed during that violence. 2 years later, the parliament voted to abolish the monarchy.
Afghanistan, grief and devastation continue after powerful earthquakes struck the eastern provinces at the end of August. More than 2,200 people have been confirmed dead, thousands others injured, and entire villages reduced to rubble. Aid agencies warn that overlapping crises from drought to mass refugee returns are worsening the suffering in the country.
In Kunar and Nangarhar provinces, whole communities have been wiped out. Homes of stone and mud collapsed within seconds of the 6.0 magnitude quake, leaving families homeless and mourning their dead.
We tragically lost 4 loved ones. Our home of 3 rooms was destroyed, and both my children and I sustained injuries. The earthquake has deeply affected my family.
28 people died in my village, mostly women and children. That night, heavy rain poured and nearly all the children fell ill. Families like ours remain here, waiting and hoping for your support.
In village after village, the stories are the same: loss, trauma, and survival against the odds.
3 of my grandchildren have been killed. My daughter-in-law was injured and my son was pulled from the rubble. I buried my grandchildren with my own hands.
Aid agencies say nearly all buildings in the hardest hit areas have been destroyed. Humanitarian partners have already assessed nearly 50 villages, confirming widespread casualties and new displacement.
The only road in and out is a narrow single-lane track carved into the mountainside. During our mission, the road was blocked by large rocks from landslides and many vehicles trying to get up and down the valley, including large trucks overloaded with humanitarian assistance rushing to get to the most affected areas. As we drove towards the epicenter, we saw families walking in the opposite direction, displaced, carrying what little they could. Many were still wearing the same clothes from the night of the earthquake. Mothers and fathers were carrying their children, some with fresh bandages covering their injuries.
Afghanistan faces multiple overlapping crises. Millions of refugees have been forced to return from Iran and Pakistan this year, many to the same earthquake-hit regions.
Afghanistan is experiencing several overlapping crises at the moment. Droughts, return of millions returnees, refugees from Iran and Pakistan, deadly floods, and now we have earthquake.
At least 2,000 people are confirmed killed so far, with more than 2,300 injured. Local officials warn the toll could rise as remote areas become accessible.
I just pray that African leaders will find it worthy to do the right thing, to make sure that their citizens are enjoying or their citizens are appeased. If African leaders are doing the right thing, I believe that nothing like this or something like this will never start. These people are protesting because of bad governance, because of corruption. And you know what corruption is all about. Maybe injustice, partiality, lack of, in fact, no infrastructure, no security, no electricity. All these things in government can be called corruption, of which the governments are entitled to provide all this, because every country have their own resources. Through their resources, they can provide this for their citizens. But once they are getting the resources and these amenities are not provided, it can be called corruption. That is why these people are protesting. But the major reason is that they are protesting because of bad governance and corruption. So I pray that our African leaders will start doing the right things. So may God help us. You can drop your thoughts in the comment section. For more videos and updates like this, subscribe on this channel. Turn on the bell anytime I publish a new video. You will get notification. I hope you enjoy my video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.